Greetings, everyone. As a subathon goal, my community earned themselves the opportunity for me to read them a bedtime story. Due to popular demand, I'm being forced to turn this into a video too. We're reading Thoughtless Gods, which is a story by Andrew Robinson and tells a tale of Hammond and how himself and the other animals came to be on the Horizon Lunar Colony. I hope you're all snuggled up and comfy. I hope you enjoy it. If you want to see more stuff like this, just drop a comment. Thank you. The setting sun bathes the ruins of the makeshift settlement in pink and crimson. Smoke from burning wreckage and vehicles peppers an apocalyptic haze over the Australian outback. The Junker Queen grins as she surveys the destruction. Armed junkers scurry about, rooting out what remains of the band of omnics who had either the audacity or the ignorance, but definitely the misfortune, to come with a mere 100 kilometers of Junkertown. Hammond learned long ago that these omnics that have terrorized the outback since the aftermath of the Omnic crisis are different. They're not like the omnics the wider world is used to. Something about the desert, the radiation, the heat, perhaps the extraordinary insularity, has twisted them into something else. They are bigger, wildly aggressive, and totally unpredictable except in their unceasing hostility against the Junkers. They're ferocious in a fight too, and relentless in their pursuit of gear and weaponry to augment their destructive capabilities. The Queen snorts as she takes note of a downed Omnic with 5 upper limbs. Sometimes, arms race is literal. The damn thing wakes as she walks past. It grabs for her leg, crawling toward her like some hideous, wounded insect, hissing, "Get you, Zach." She almost startles, but as it raises one flamethrower arm, she whips out her scattergun and unloads into the metal monster's overbuilt skull. Twice, for good measure. It stops moving. Hammond nods in approval and starts to move his mech, but another tortured scream of the metal draws his attention. All heads turn as a large omnic, its limbs twisted and bedecked with razor-sharp blades, feet bolstered with small knobby tires for speed, burst from its hidey hole. Hammond realizes that this omnic, the size of a battle mech, though corroded and dilapidated like so much of the outback, is preparing to fire a crisis-era shoulder-launched missile that it has incorporated into its body. Hammond chatters. The wrecking ball mech announces, "Danger." He fires his grappling hook, which clangs into the Omnic's knee, making it stumble just as the Junker Queen dashes at the monster, swinging her axe. Carnage. The Omnic turns towards her, but its aim is off. Carnage cleaves its head from its massive shoulders, and the rocket fires into the sky and explodes harmlessly. The Junkers cheer for the fireworks as the headless chassis topples to the ground with a crash. The head bounces once and settles on the hard packed dirt. "All you dead soon," it says as its lights go dark. "No rubbernecking," the Queen barks at her followers. "Show's over." She nods at Hammond in thanks for the assist. Mary, the head of the Tinkers, looks over at him. Hammond and Mary are now share a responsibility for getting the Queen's pet project, which had recently been unearthed from the depths of Junkertown, online. The Queen continues towards a mangled steel structure, where Hammond is attempting to gain entry. Raining shards of metal into the Junkers nearby, she calls out, "Think maybe this is where they're hiding the good stuff, champ?" Hammond looks over to her. They've been seeking a specific type of component for the massive anti-grav thrusters he and Mary have been rebuilding. He's privately skeptical that the Omnics would have come across such a rare treasure in this region, but he wants to keep the Queen spirit up. So he shrugs. He cringes a bit. His ears are sensitive, as the Queen whistles sharply at them of scavengers nearby. "Make it Queen sweep, people. Let's find our pot of gold," she declares. Hammond watches the various factions of Junkertown, the Tinkers, Wreckers, Scavengers, etc., get into a rhythm now as they go about dismantling wreckage in the aftermath of the battle, breaking ramshackle vehicles, infrastructure, even omnic bodies into smaller parts for later repurposing. The wreckers use everything from axes to backhoes to crowbars to tear things apart into manageable pieces. Scavengers sort through the scrap, searching for material, textiles, rare metals, and other electronics and treasures. They barter and haggle and fight over parts with the Tinkers, who triage for value and usability. Keep it moving, you lot, Mary tells her people. Thruster's parts'll gain you extra pay. Hammond turns his attention back to the reinforced door of the structure. Losing patience, he fires a burst of the mech's quad cannons, then bashes the mech into the door a few more times. The hatch of the mech rattles just a bit, a souvenir from his fight with Roadhog in the arena. Though the lock functions just fine, he's a perfectionist and it's irritating. He will have to fix that. I've got explosives if you need 'em, champ, Mary calls helpfully. Hammond grumbles. Negative, the mech responds, managing to convey Hammond's annoyance. One last bashing, and the door finally comes off its hinges. Inside, Hammond finds a fair sized room, with several monitors showing various new feeds. A crude communication center, he assumes. The monitor displays news and some sort of planet wide robot attack. The mech opens and Hammond emerges, blinking in surprise at the images. This is not what he was expecting. The hamster wonders for a moment whether, as much as the Junkers hate the Omnics, they have been underestimating them. Did they build this war room, or was it scavenged from some human settlement? And have they been monitoring the world? If so, why? What does it mean? He mulls this, then stores the thought for another time and reverse course to the doorway, chattering. Breaking news, the mech translates. Come see. The queen looks over at the rodent curiously, then strides through the entryway, unslinging her axe. What's got your grappler in a twist? She enters the room and reacts, surprised to see the various feats. She clocks them in. He clocks them in turn. Los Angeles, London, Johannesburg. Is this all over the world? Hammond nods. Null sector, eh? Bloody Omnics are always up to something. Junker Queen nods approvingly at Wrecking Ball. Well done, Whiskers. She pauses. Gotta admit, tin cans they may be, but Null Sector may be onto something. The fights around these parts are starting to get old. Maybe we go see the world a bit. Once you and Mary finish fixing up our new ride. Hammond turns his attention back to the news anchor and the lowest screen to the left. The latest city to fall under attack by Null Sector, Lijiang, is one of China's premier technology centers, home to Wenchai Industries, Lucheng Interstellar, New Harvest Banking Consortium, and other corporations. The anchor pauses as the feed switches to grainy footage of a military squadron under heavy fire. The government is devoting extraordinary resources to defending Lijiang, as a proprietary technology developed by Lucheng and its competitors could make Null Sector even more dangerous. Something catches his eye on the screen. A sign on a glittering skyscraper. Something unmistakable. A blue arrow on its side. A diagram of a lunar orbit encircling it. The logo of Lucheng Interstellar, the owners of the Horizon Lunar Colony, his former home. His creators, thoughtless gods. He is frozen, paralyzed by a seething urge of adrenaline and rage. In a blink, the past 12 years vanish, and he is catapulted into his earliest, most fractured memories. Images, really soft, warm, mother, rustling, click, 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 claws on plastic. Winding tubes go up and down, squirming, snuggling in among his siblings, a dozen and later more. He is happy, a simple happy. The scientists place him into mazes. He uses his sense of smell to find treats they put in at the end. He learns to solve puzzles and enjoys it, especially the reward, the blissful, salty crunch crunch of his favorite sunflower seeds. Though he does not know that he is being pitted against his siblings, he finds treats more often and more quickly than they do. He grows to become the biggest in his family. Sometimes, when he finds a treat very fast, the scientists make a noise and bare their teeth, and then hand paper to each other. Years from now, amid the roars of battle in the scrapyard, he learns that this is called betting. The scientists wager on him and his family to pass the time. He is alone and cold and afraid. The one scientist who's there more than all the others, the one they called Dr. Chow, jabs him with a shiny, sharp stick. It hurts horribly. He cannot fight or flee from her, so he expects deaths, but it does not come, as it does for some of his siblings. It lasts for some months. Each interaction is more than he can bear. He does not understand why he survives. He wakes up one day to something new, a marking that appears over and over, a kind of loop. Dr. Chow approaches as another examines him. How's specimen 8 this morning? We're calling in Hammond, Dr. Chow. We found that naming him helps them with their development. Why a hamster, by the way? They're less expensive than gorillas, and nobody cares how many hamsters we lose, so don't get too attached. He undergoes more treatment, and more. He grows in both body and mind. He wonders why he is being experimented on. That is the word the scientists use about him. There is a rush of exhilaration in his brain. He understands things, a flood of realization about himself. He is smart, special, powerful. These are things he was never before. Prefers it this way. The scientists do not return him to his home this time. They place him in his own larger cage, apart from his family, where he claws at the bars. The scientists speak in gentle tones. They are now concerned he might crush the others. Though he was larger than his siblings before, he is now many times so. He has never been alone for this long. He searches for the eyes of his mother, but there is an unbridgeable chasm between them that encompasses more than the distance. Watches his family play together from his separate cage. They pay him no mind. Very lonely. He is confused and frustrated. He tries to ask the scientists why more of his family are not with him, are not like him. He misses them terribly, but he has no language to communicate this to them. They think he is simply doing antics, and they laugh. They encourage him to do more antics. They give him treats. Over time, more siblings are removed from the communal habitat. He has learned many words from the scientists now, even if he cannot speak. They are given the same injections that Hammond was given. Each time, he waits eagerly for them to join him. He is hopeful. And then, each time, he is sad. Unspeakably sad. His brothers and sisters are dead. Oh my god. He has seen the scientist Dr. Nevsky consulting with scientist Dr. Wynne. They are confused. They realize their experiments are failing. Except for him. They do not agree on what causes the failures. Yet their faces convey no sorrow or remorse. He has learned to read human faces. He has come to realize that his well-being depends on it. He wonders why they are not sad. Clank! Oi, champ! What you do that for? Startled out of his reverie, Hammond looks round to see the queen gesturing at him with her knife. He realizes that his grappling hook has smashed through the monitor entirely. He stares for a moment, then retracts the grapple from the ruined screen. Mary enters the room and notes the wreckage of the monitor. Bad time? The queen sighs. Good as any. What's up? Mary grimaces. We've scouted this dump with a fine-tooth comb. It was a long shot they might have what we need, and unfortunately, it looks like we're out of luck. The queen's lips curls in irritation. How are we supposed to fix up our toy without those components, Mary? Mary takes an involuntary step back. We'll keep looking. Hammond glances at Mary. He's not concerned about her, but then he looks back at the ruined screen with a flickering image of Li Shang Tower. A realization occurs to him. He chatters at them. The mammal has something to do, the mech declares as he rides it outside. The queen cocks her head, curious, and follows him. Hey, I give you a certain amount of leeway, but you can't just go AWOL. What's your play? Hammond utters a stream of barks and growls. He knows where to find the components, the mech proclaims. That sets her on her heels. Okay then, saddle up. Hammond shakes his head no and trills softly, activating the rolling function and heading due west, into the evening sun. You must go alone, the mech's voice carries back as it trundles away. Right, try not to die then. The queen shouts at him. Batty rat. She turns to her chief engineer. Looks like it's all you, Mary. Jump to it. The moon casts its pale light on the city of Lijiang, China. Hammond has to be very stealthy as he pilots the wrecking ball through the streets to avoid Nell sector troops. There has been some damage to the city, but frankly less than he expected, given what he has seen of the Omnic troop, transports and munitions. The fact that the city has been mostly evacuated makes his task somewhat easier, as does the fact that the Omnic patrols are regularly timed and easy to hear coming. The night market sits at the base of Lijiang Tower. It looks like it was once a bustling place, even at this late hour, but the invasion has left only a few hardy souls on the streets desperate enough to disregard the danger. Perhaps the human counteroffensive outside the city has drawn Null Sector's attention. It is oddly peaceful now. The wrecking ball rolls in at a swift clip, then Hammond pops the mech's legs and tilts up. He finds the reflections of the holographic signs and lights on the wet streets to be strangely alluring. Not what he expected from a city of millions of people. He suspects it would be somewhat less alluring if they were all packed in here. He emerges, sussing out a route into the tower, but he's surprised by the scent of food nearby. His stomach growls. Though the Junkers are many things, good cooks is not one of them. He spies the Piggy Mama hot pot stand and zeroes in on the aromas coming from it. He can almost taste the marinated meats and salty vegetables. No, that can wait. He wipes the drool from his puffy cheeks. He needs the thruster components, but he also wants answers. And maybe payback? He mutters to himself. He gazes up at the skyscraper, and for a moment he feels small and insignificant. A little afraid. This made him angry, which is good and useful. He smiles grimly. The entrance to the tower enjoys a large, open courtyard. So much for stealth. Well-armed security agents patrol the perimeter in packs of 5. Safety in numbers. Smart. Heavy bunkers have been set up to defend the building. He snorts. This confirms his thought about Lu Chang. They will protect themselves rather than helping push Nell's sector out of the city. He has heard a human saying, the fish stinks from the head. Apt, he thinks Lu Chang is a stinky fish. Nonetheless, he has an idea. Hammond pops back into the wrecking ball and fires its grappling claw to its full extension, latching onto a corner of the building nearest the tower. Swinging from meters above the ground, faster and faster, Hammond times his release precisely, then activates the mech's pile driver function. The wrecking ball becomes a speeding projectile that craters into the tower lobby like a meteor, knocking the guards inside off their feet. Hammond chatters. Oh no, the mech drones. Null Sector is attacking. Null Sector is so bad. Everyone flee. Hammond rolls the mech back out of the lobby before anyone can respond. But he knows that this attack will draw the bulk of the building's security, so he wastes no time. Crossing to the large building map, which informs him that Lucheng Interstellar occupies the top 10 floors, the parts he's looking for will be there. They must be. They had better be. Then he rushes around the side of the building, where he uses his grappling claw to scale the glass edifice 10, 20, 30 floors up. He pauses for a moment to admire the tranquil gardens, where executives no doubt fling underlings into the deadly moat. The rodent chuckles to himself at that thought, then resumes his climb. 40, swing, 50 floors up before he swerves out and fires the mech's quad cannons at the plate glass windows of the 57th floor. He remembers this move from an old Christmas film the scientist showed on the colony once, and with one last swing, the shatterproof glass explodes beneath the force of his momentum. There are no people in the offices. This is good for him, but also good for them. Maneuvering the mech to an elevator bank, Hyman pries open the doors, climbs into the shaft, and ascends to the 63rd floor, where Lu Cheng is located. Exiting the elevators, Hyman knows that the massive security doors have dropped into place. If we were here with the Junker Queen, he would ask him why scientists would need doors like this. But he knows this is not just any office, there are secrets here. Ugly secrets. He sighs. Getting to the control center through them will be difficult and will take more time than he has. As soon as Lu Cheng's security doors discovers the hole he put into the side of the building, they'll send more than just guards. Emin trundles the mech over to an air duct register near the perimeter of the building. He pops out of the mech, checks to ensure that he has his tools he needs, opens the duct gate, and clambers in. Just before he closes the grate, he warbles at the mech. Auto target mode engage. The wrecking ball intones. As he dashes through the air ducts, pausing here and there at each junction for direction, he remembers other air ducts where he used his keen sense of smell to sniff out treats or tools. Now, he sensed for particular electronic frequencies, the heat signatures of the server towers, the dried sweat of security agents on duty for the last 8 hours. He grins as he approaches his goal, remembering a long ago triumph, his first escape. He is back in the lunar base years ago. Seeing that he is alone, Hammond maneuvers a bobby pin out of his cheek, where he has held it for most of the day. It takes a few minutes to pick the padlock. Dr. Zhang placed on his cage to keep him contained for the night. Climbing atop his enclosure, he launches himself to the ceiling, where his claws grasp the slats of the ceiling vent. He has hidden a screwdriver, as well and quickly assesses the air ducts. From that moment on, he is uncontainable. The ducts remind him comfortably of the habit trail mazes he used to live in, and even the mazes the scientists used to run him through to assess his intelligence. Then, as now, he uses his sense of smell to guide him to the commissary, where he binges on corn chips, yams, fruit, ice cream. He had no idea the variety of things that are edible. Later, he discovers the garages, the fun to be had with playing tools, or the fun to be had playing with tools, of fixing broken mechanisms and creating new ones from their spare parts. It feeds his ego to put something over on the humans, just as it amuses him greatly to leave presents for Dr. Patel in his room. But more importantly, engineering, repurposing, or fixing things feeds his insatiable need for challenge. Soon enough, there is little that he cannot fix or build. Hammond will later appreciate these same qualities in the Junkers, how they take wasted, broken things and bring new purpose to them. They recreate and recycle. What's more, they don't think too deeply, they live for the moment. He appreciates that too. In time, Hammond comes to memorize the network of ducks, and he realizes that there are other creatures that have been. He is not sure what to call Dr. Chow. He is not sure what to call what Dr. Chow has done to him. Changed is insufficient. Augmented, evolved, he has glimpsed a few of these creatures through their slats of the grate. and some of them have made every hair on his body stand up with their wrongness. He avoids those ducks now. But one night, he's bringing some tools to his work on his secret project, the one that will take him from this place someday. When he hears a whimper, a squeak, almost, through the vent of a room below, he pauses, sniffs, and though what he smells does not smell like him, it is not one of those. He peers through the slats into the dim and can just make out a hairy form on a bed. Oh my god, is it? It whimpers again. He hardly dares to hope. Did another hamster somehow survive the scientist's treatment? Will one of his siblings finally join him? His heart races. Excitement and curiosity overrule caution. He quietly unscrews the grate and drops into the room. He pulls out a flashlight from the one-piece uniform that the scientists make him wear. He would chew it to rags where it was not for pockets he carries tools in. He turns on the flashlight and creeps towards the figure, which sits up and yelps in surprise. Hyman let out an involuntary squeal and launches himself backward while the figure leaps to the ceiling, gibbering. It takes them both a moment to regain their composure. The gorilla clings to the open grate, breathing heavily, looking panicked. Hammond realizes that the gorilla is wearing a uniform similar to his own, with the number 28 on it. Hammond is struck by a sense of sympathy. The ape has obviously survived what Hammond has. The gorilla looks at him suspiciously. The hamster shows his front paws to communicate that he means no harm. Then, remembers that he has peanut butter bar in one pocket. He opens it and offers it to 28, who sniffs curiously and drops from the ceiling. Hammond tosses the bar to the gorilla, who takes a tentative bite and breaks into a broad, sunny smile. Finishing the candy bar, the ape examines Hammond, and in his giddy curiosity about what Hammond even is, he laughs. He bounces on the bed. Hammond notices the bed frame squeak and uses the screwdriver to tighten the offending bolt. 28's eyes go wide as he points at the tools. Neither can speak, but 28 is well suited to charades. Hammond tries his best to answer back with gestures. Nonetheless, when Hammond leaves, the ape eagerly asks if he will come back, and Hammond agrees. He tosses the screwdriver to 28, who cradles it like it's something precious. It is the start of Hammond's first friendship. Like him, 28 is far more intelligent than the others realize, and like him, 28 is alone. Somewhat outcast from the other apes. There is something about him, an innocence, that inspires a sense of protectiveness. Is that it? In Hammond? Hammond remembers it in himself, an eagerness to test the world. It seems to irritate most of the other primates, who tend to ignore 28 or harass him. That, of course, leads to his occasional isolation, while the scientists recalibrate the social elements of their grand experiment. Hammond starts sneaking treats to his friends regularly. Peanut butter is 28's favorite thing. It shows the gorilla how to fix things, and in return, 28 shows Hammond how to dream of something better. One night, he points to a drawing, a blue circle with patches of green. The unforgiving vacuum of space is a rocket. 28 is in viewport, a crudely drawn Hammond flopped over his shoulder. Back in the present, in the central room of the Luchain complex, two agents operate a dizzying array of camera feeds. The first agent cocks her head towards the ceiling. Did you hear that? The second focused on a feed showing the massive hole where Hammond breaches from the building. Hear what? A scraping noise in the ceiling ducts. The second guard snorts. Probably just a rat. The first guard stares back. A rat? On the 63rd floor? The second guard scoffs, not returning her look. What else could it be? Just then, the ceiling grate swings open, and Hammond drops into the room. The agents stand in shock. The first guard struggles to unclip her sidearm from her belt as she panics. That's the biggest rat I've ever. She does not get to finish because Hammond has beaten them both to draw with tasers. They go down hard. He grins. Hammond pulls up a chair up to the console that the guards were operating and quickly sizes up what he needs. First things first, he activates a building wide alarm and types in a message for the comm system to read. Threat remains. Evacuate building. A calm voice urges people repeatedly as the emergency lights shut off. He watches the camera feeds, seeing agents herding scientists and administrators to the exit. There is a joke Hammond once heard about sheep, but it does not appeal to the sense of humor. He prefers slapstick, pratfalls, broken limbs, that kind of thing. In short time, he has unlocked the heavy security doors, and using his remote control, he summons the wrecking ball. But moments later, two more guards dash into the room. Don't move. Hands. The first guard stutters, seeing the 3 foot tall, heavily armed rodent facing him. Up? A rumbling sound approaches. Hammond smirks as the guards turn just in time to get toppled by the wrecking ball. He uses the grappling hook to tow the now unconscious guards out of the room, then returns inside, bringing the reinforced doors back down to barricade the control center. No more time for antics. He has work to do. He types into the console, flipping through various security feeds. Where would they store the component he needs? And how does he get it there? A thought strikes him, and in there is not just a realization, but a frisson of fear. He knows who would know. He shoves his unease away and cycles through the security feeds impatiently, hoping to see some sort of lab or storage facility. He growls softly in frustration and stops abruptly as another set of screens catches his eyes. What he sees is not anything in or around the building. It is a security feed of a place he is never expected to see again. The place he once called home. Horizon Lunar Colony. He starts to cycle through camera feeds. The main hangar, Bay 12, where he taught himself mechanical skills, rovers and jump packs lying around, seemingly gutted of parts. A greenhouse filled with thriving crops. The commissary, deserted. The classroom where he and the other genetically altered animals were educated and tested. A medical bay, the hydroponics lab, a waste treatment plant. Deep in thought, lost in memories, the hamster startles at a woman's voice. Specimen 8, I presume? He whirls around as the mech announces, "Intruder approaching." Hammond chitters angrily at the machine. New pilot profanity detected. Adding to database, the mech counters. Whiskers twitching violently, Hammond snarls at the frail, aging Chinese woman who has seemingly materialized a meter away, seated in a hover chair. She smiles gently at the threat. I am no danger to you, Specimen 8. The fact that she uses the identification number he was given, rather than his name, is not lost to him. He growls. Though it might sound comical and small to humans, the threat behind it is not. Address him as Hammond, the mech translate, leaving out more colorful squeaks. She nods in understanding, if not acquiescence. Specimen 8 must be a bit impersonal. Do you remember me? Hammond grumbles at her. He is not an idiot, Dr. Chow, the mech pronounces. She nods again, impressed. Well, it's been quite a while. He grumbles again. You left the colony early, the mech says. If by that you mean before the rebellion, then yes. But as you can see, it feels like I've spent more than enough time there. After years in and out of lunar gravity, my body atrophied beyond repair. I'm afraid at my age, even with years of physical therapy, it was too difficult to regain the muscle mass I lost. I wasn't a great candidate for the cybernetics either. So she gestures to the chair. Hammond scoffs and the mech translates, "You should have evacuated the tower when Null Sector invaded. Foolish. You know as well as I do, there is information here that mustn't fall into the wrong hands. As CEO, I'm responsible for that." She sighs. "Besides, you don't get to my age without learning how to distinguish one danger from another. If you really wanted me dead." She shrugs, almost challenging him. He stares for a moment, then grunts. He adds a high pitched but meaningful growl. "Options remain visible. You will give the hamster information, or else." The mech voices. "Where are Unigua activators kept for anti gravity thrusters?" Rather than reply, she gazes at him appraisingly. "I must say, I am surprised but pleased to see you, Specimen 8. Where have you been all these years?" Hammond humphs. The mech words, "None of your business. The company assumed you perished in the Apes' Rebellion, but I had my doubts about that. You were always so capable." Dr. Chow approaches the terminal. Hammond keeps the mech's quad cannons trained on her. She types in a command to shift the camera feed. A water treatment plant, still functioning, tended by robotic hands. She switches the feed to a fabrication station, where structural materials are produced for the moon base, and then to a particular room. Hammond startles and turns to her, head cocked demandingly. "Your old room, and the cage you so effortlessly escaped time after time." She grimaces wearily. No matter how they change or reinforce the locks, Hammond growls again. The mech states, "He does not like being told what to do, or what not to." Yes, you always thought outside of the box. As I recall, Dr. Zhang and Dr. Flores had something of a running bet as to where you were going. She turns to another monitor and calls up old security footage from the lunar colony. In it, a younger Hammond is working on something mechanized, utilizing a gravity wrench and a laser cutter. "You taught yourself engineering and mechanics. Why? Just look at this cunning little mech you cobbled together. Imagine the uses we could put it to." Wrecking Ball takes a step closer to Hammond. The hatch rattles a bit as he does. Hammond grits his teeth. He's got to fix that. Hammond grumbles in response. "Everyone underestimates the small," says the mech. She does not offer further response. Instead, she pulls up a feed of a training facility, a large multi-level gymnasium. On the feed, two apes spar in a ring. He recognizes a beefy orangutan who used to bully him for the simple pleasure of it. Dyson is now older, thicker, and he has fashioned armor and weaponry for himself. They gaze at the screen, where the apes trade fierce blows. Oscar pins his rival. The other ape gestures submission. Oscar delivers a painful mock kill anyway. Hammond chitters at Chow. "What happened?" the mech asks. "What do you mean?" Chow asks. Hammond screws up his face, concentration fixed on the screens. He verbalizes lengthily. The mech takes a moment, processing, then says, "Why did Liu Chang never try to take back the lunar base from the apes? Trillions of dollars in resources lost. That is not like humans." Chow looks sour. "Oh, we've tried. We've sent 3 teams up there over the last 10 years to retake the colony. Each better trained and better armed than the last. What we didn't realize, she admits, was how damned clever the apes are. Saw us coming, and while we were innovating, so were they." Hammond is not sure what she means by that. She brings up a new feed. The one focuses on the exterior of the colony, specifically a massive telescope that sweeps slowly, almost imperceptibly from side to side, scanning space. He knows that Liu Cheng uses this site to perform an astronomical observation. Outside of the hazing effects of the Earth's atmosphere, they enjoy incredible clarity of imagery. Hammond recalls that he actually reached the telescope once and took the time to look through it. He did not enjoy it. Perhaps it is a species level feeling. Having nothing but an open space above his head causes a primal sense of unease. Rodents are prey animals, and death nearly always comes from above. Well, he thinks to himself, most rodents are prey animals. Not him. Not anymore, and never again. He is a hunter and a destroyer. He idly wonders whether the apes are maintaining the various systems, including the telescopes, once used to track asteroids that posed an existential threat to Earth, whether the Liu Cheng scientists are controlling it remotely, or whether it has sat unattended for the last decade, degrading and leaving the planet vulnerable to an extinction level threat. Hammond verbalizes. Does Liu Cheng still control the telescope? The mech asks Chow. She nods. Although at the moment we worry less about the unknown dangers coming from space than the dangers we know exist there. The apes, Hammond's guess. I find it ironic. We spend so much time trying to escape cages, even to help others escape theirs. Oh yes, my friend, I know. And yet, you've chosen to hide in the one you've made for yourself. Survival tactic, I assume. Hammond glares but stops himself from attacking her. Does not miss her smug expression, but he is forced to consider her words. He takes control and switches to Lijiang Tower security feeds, resuming his search for the thruster components, and finally finds what he's looking for: a tech lab in the Rocketry Research Center. He notes the lab's number in the feed and pulls up a diagram of the component he has been seeking. It is not the same as he remembers, but it is close enough to what he designed long ago. There is violence. There are screams. He does his best to avoid it. Though he bears the scientists no love for what they have done, he does not want to witness their demise. Some of the primates give him angry looks, but they are more bent on the destruction of oppressors than on him. His small size benefits him, as occasionally it does. Still, he knows that apes may soon decide they do not want him around. He realizes that he has a very limited amount of time to act on his own behalf. He takes to the ducting and swiftly makes his way to the spaceport. Hammond scuttles through the various bays only to see his horror that the apes have disabled the shuttles that are used to transport astronauts, scientists, and workers to and from the moon base. He is trapped there. He reacts to a noise from Bay 14 and stealthily makes his way there. Stops, seeing a figure. 28. Winston. Working furiously on an escape craft, nearly ready to leave. It looks like it is based on the plans they dreamed up together. The rocket they would one day leave the colony on. The ape makes a final adjustment to a familiar rocket thruster. Closes. Closes this compartment and heads for the cockpit. Hammond is confused, and then hurt and angry. It seems Winston does not plan to bring Hammond with him, and this leads to another devastating realization. They are not friends at all. Hammond now sees whatever else Liu Cheng made them. They are all, in the end, just animals. Animals who will do what it takes to survive. In the control room, Hammond suddenly realizes Dr. Chow is aiming a taser at him. He barely dodges the wires as they shoot out, and he barks a command. The mech's grappling hook fires out, knocking the weapons from Chow's hand. Chow breaks his reverie. I must know, Specimen 8. Was Winston aware that you have piggybacked on his escape? Hammond looks away, scowling. She gazes at him appraisingly. And you never let him know that you were okay. Never went to see your best friend, perhaps to join Overwatch with him? He glares at her and chatters empathetically, spitting on the floor of good measure. The mech whirs. He stole. Untranslatable rodent profanity detected. She raises her hand in mock surrender. I see. A sensitive subject. But still, why wouldn't you find him? You both made it out after all. Hammond begins to snarl in his response but stops. That has never occurred to him. He growls softly. The mech translates, he has new friends. And you've been hiding from the world in your little ball ever since. Just a frightened rodent. He chitters flatly. There was something to fear, but the hamster is no longer afraid. To emphasize that he is done in part of their conversation, Hammond changes to another feed. It shows Earth looming above. Beyond a great glassine wall, that magnificent view. If you like such things. It was always Winston's favorite. Winston brought him there once. Hammond hated it. Too much space, or too many memories. But there's something different about this view that he remembers. He can't put his paw on why. Why? He has wondered this for the last decade and more, and has never come to a conclusive answer. He must know. He has forgotten that this is one of his main reasons he is here. He verbalizes, why? The mech demands. Bao glances over at him, confused. He demands to know why you did this to him. To all the subjects. He contemplates the rodent for a long time, then sighs. Initially, hubris, frankly. We did it because we could, and then for the accolades, and the funding. This does not surprise Hammond. Nearly every human he has ever met has been arrogant and overconfident, apart from the Junker Queen, the only human who has bested the Wrecking Ball in combat. And to be sure, the Queen is arrogant, but she's at least earned it. Why? Why hamsters, orangutans, gorillas? So much could go wrong. So much did go wrong. Toying with life, playing God. He shrugs. We're curious as to the limits of our ability. To see what we could accomplish with genetic manipulation. You'd be surprised at what we tried. Barely saw a portion of it, and I admit, our failures were horrific. That's why we can only do it up there. Can you imagine if any had escaped down here? But our successes were wonderful. Just look at you. Hammond snorts and grumbles. Your creations escaped their cages and killed your doctors. The mech intones. New definition of success. Then Chow surprises him. You don't know what that work laid good ground for. The long-term effects of low gravity on animals, the viability of sustained life on the moon. We thought it was all about Earth, lunar ops, but then the scope of our project changed. The apes, and you, if you had lived long enough, would become part of a long-term space travel program. Big plans, the Wrecking Ball says. The apes had different plans. She chuckles bitterly. You'd think they would be grateful for the gifts we've bestowed on them. Hammond is astonished. He chitters angrily. The mech whirs, processing. None of the life forms asked for what you did, even if they became better. They suffered for it. You are responsible. Thoughtless gods. Hammond turns back to the feed that looks out at the earth and suddenly realizes what has thrown him off about the view. There's a structure outside the glassine wall that was not there all those years ago. It is only partially built, but it's not something the scientists made. That is odd. His train of thought is interrupted by an unmistakable pitch of a laser saw cutting through the plate metal down at a distant corridor. The sound of security forces reaching the defenses. He is locked into place. I glance at the building, and security cameras confirm it. He clambers down into the waiting Wrecking Ball. Foolish. She's been stalling him. Bao sees the monitors as well and smiles victoriously. Well, it's been nice catching up. Specimen 8. She wheezes. but you're surrounded. There are guards above, below, and around. You see? She smiles. Winston may not be Liu Cheng property anymore, but you never had your day in court, and now you never will. Enraged, Hammond steps forward, pulls out a multi-tool, and plunges it repeatedly into the control panel on the right arm of her chair, which drops to the floor with a bang. He looms over her, hissing angrily. The mech translates, "He belongs to no one." "Kill me if you like. It won't make any difference," she says to him with a wince. "As I said, I am an old woman, and I built Liu Cheng to last. I am not afraid to die." Hammond snarls, testing his statement. The mech offers as it spins up its quad cannons. Dr. Chow closes her eyes tightly and cringes, waiting for the barrage that does not come. The quad cannons spin down, and she opens her eyes, confused. Hammond grunts. "Liar," the mech declares. Hammond is glad she did not tell him where the components were. She would certainly have led him into a trap. Hammond fully deactivates his weapon systems. Off her smug look, he vocalizes a sequence of trills and chirps. "The mammal has decided not to kill you. We will make you watch as he dismantles the empire you have built to last," the mech declares. In a burst of fury, he leans over and punches a sequence into the control panel, a signal to the lunar colony. "You are being watched." The mech broadcasts Chow's voice. Hubris. "Frankly, we did it because we could." Dr. Chow's eyes widen in alarm for a moment. Then she grimaces. "Clever, but too late." As the security forces burst into the room, Chow shouts, "Do not let it escape." The hamster growls and squeaks. "Escape is not intent," voices the mech. "The hamster is finally going to get what he came for." Hammond crouches into the wrecking ball, closes the hatch, and spins up the quad cannons, chattering as he does. "Please try to stop him," the mech declares. "He will enjoy it." In response, the humans, each wearing anti-ballistic armor and wielding some type of rifle he's never seen, open fire. "Surrender," an officer commands. "You are outnumbered and surrounded." Hammond barks defiant laughter. "Amusement," the mech enunciates, "just how he likes it." He fires the guns just to make the guards twitch as they blast at him. The mech warns, "Taking damage, activating adaptive shield." Hammond withdraws the mech's limbs and activates his rolling function, plowing through the knot of guards with ease. He chuckles as it launches those too slow to jump out of the way. "I need reinforcements," their commander howls into his comm. "Arriving now," comes the reply. The commander smiles as a dozen more guards rush out from the corridor. "Let's put this thing down." Hammond, no, he is Wrecking Ball, looks back, beady eyes gleaming with disdain. Chow looks withered and helpless to him now. Liu Cheng cannot stop Hammond. Never could. Never will. He warbles with glee and launches a dozen anti-personal mines into the crowd. Oh my god. They hit the ground, blinking ominously, and the humans have only moments to react, diving away in panic, with a variety of surprised creative curses. Hammond nods in the approval as he triggers the mines. From the street, one corner of the 63rd floor of the glass tower that houses Liu Cheng Interstellar blows out. Shards of glass catch the light of the exploding mines, showering the streets below like deadly fireworks. Hammond uses the security force's moment of shock to dive into the now exposed I-beam, swinging him around the side just in time to avoid shots from guards who were savvy enough to evade the explosion. There, he soon finds what he needs, the crucial components for the anti-gravity thrusters the Queen has been seeking. Next generation, no less. The guards try to regroup and chase him down. The humans are too slow. Soon, Wrecking Ball has returned to street level. Sirens are approaching. Many, many sirens. As much as he loves a fight, now's a good time for him to retreat. He turns and rolls into the night, making his way through the abandoned streets of Lijiang. He ponders his experience. What started as a relatively straightforward supply mission turned into something unexpected, but right. He has learned much, and what he has learned has raised questions. He thought it would be enough to get answers from Chow, revenge on Chow. To throw a monkey wrench, he can't help but smile, into her plans. But that's not enough. He must make all of Lucheng pay for what they did. The apes may be stranded on the moon, but Hammond is not. Got a shiny new toy and a powerful, maniacal friend who will do him a solid for the fun of it. He's not just going to survive Chow this time. He's going to finish what the ape started. Tear it all down. Maybe he'll even let the apes help. As the morning sun lights up the outback, the Junkard Queen, enjoying the view from an ancient corrugated tin roof, downs a steaming mug of coffee and rises from a dilapidated lawn chair scavenged from a long abandoned township. Nothing's more metal than sunrise, the Queen muses. It's like a promise of all the fun we're going to have. She turns to Mary and Geiger, who stand nearby. How's our project coming along? No worries, Mary assures her. Should be ready soon. She hesitates, then adds, pending getting the anti-grav thrusters up and running, of course. Something approaches in the distance, raising a trail of dust behind it. The queen squints, yet can't make it out. She'll brook no threats. Iger, the scavenger, as much machine as man, snaps out a telescope from some bodily compartment and holds it to his remaining eye, which widens in surprise. He tosses the telescope to the queen, who snatches it effortlessly from the air and looks through it. In the scope, Wrecking Ball speeds towards her. The hint of a smile reaches her lips. The mech finally reaches Junker Town's walls. The hatch opens and Hammond slowly emerges, stretching mightily. The hatch rattles just a little bit. He barely notices it anymore. He gazes around at the open morning sky and the pale, waning moon so far away, and for the first time, it's beautiful. Well, well, well. The queen smirks from the top of the wall. The prodigal rodent returns. You look knackered. Been nailing heads to the floorboards again? Hammond shrugs. The hamster never tells, says the mech. She cocks her head. Did you at least get to what you went out for? Can we get going soon? Gives her a languid thumbs up. Mission successful, the mech states. The queen offers a crooked grin and motions with her jaw to the settlement entrance. Her blessings to return. Mary pulls her comms and the keys to the mic. Open the gate. The champ's back. So that's the story. And that's the entire story. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Quite a long read, can't lie. But I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope the little campfire in the back wasn't like too loud or anything. But I had a good time reading it. Thank you all for your gift subs for reaching this goal. Loki, we gotta get back to playing now.